Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cam from Therapy Redeemed. Welcome to episode 5 of Office Hour with your therapist. Today, we're talking about anxiety and depression. What's the difference and what do we do about it? I'm gonna be pulling from the DSM-5 here, and I have kind of stated this openly and regularly before in the past, but just not to pathologize or make someone feel shame or blame for feeling any of these symptoms or experiences in their own life, but this is just to create a common kind of language so that we can serve people who are important to us. Okay, so number 1, depression. Depressive symptoms, depressive disorders. Ooh, I don't really like that word disorders, but that's what we're using here in DSM-5. Here we go. The presence of sad, empty, or irritable mood, accompanied by somatic, that's kind of like body, somatic and cognitive changes that significantly affect the individual's capacity to function. That is kind of like a 30,000 feet overview of depressive symptoms, okay? Now here's the distinction: depression and anxiety. Excessive fear and anxiety and related behavioral disturbances. Let's check in on these two terms, fear and anxiety. Fear, what they say, is the emotional response to real or perceived imminent threat, whereas anxiety is anticipation of a future threat. These two terms are really capturing the idea of my body's response to a threat, either here and now or there and then future. Something's going on right now in my immediate environment, it's threatening, it feels threatening, or something in the future, there's a future threat that could happen, or something that I want to happen won't happen, I'm worried about that. That could create some anxiety. So that means when we think about the difference between depression and anxiety, what makes me think about is depression or depressive type symptoms could potentially be the body's response to the past, like a past event or past threat that was fulfilled or that happened. And anxiety is the body's response to a future threat. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm worried that it could happen. Or it hasn't happened yet, and I'm worried that something that I want to happen won't happen. So we're really kind of thinking about past and future. So what that tells me as I'm thinking through this, how to make it real and relevant for you all, is if you or someone under your care is presenting with any of these types of symptoms, and with anxiety we're thinking about maybe we've got some kind of like physical, emotional, or kind of cognitive types of presentations, jittery, irritable, keyed up, on edge, right? Hard to sit still, restless. We want to think about past. Has there been an event or something significant that has happened that would cause someone or you to respond, like normative response to stress, something in the past? Future, okay? Is there something that is coming up around the corner that I'm worried about that could potentially harm me or my family? Or is there something that I want to happen, but if it doesn't happen, there's going to be harm or some kind of discomfort or some sort of suffering or hardship for me or my family? Okay, so that is future. So we've got the body's appropriate normative response to past or future. And more about the future, there's also the fear response, which is an immediate threat. Something right here and right now is causing my body to feel as if we're not safe. There is a danger, and that propels me into the fight, flight, or freeze response. There's that arousal of the nervous system, the part of the body that's responsible for keeping us alive, to pump blood, to secrete hormones. That part of our system that's going to get activated is protective. So if we're just kind of sitting together with children playing with toys, all of a sudden, boom, I feel that immediate threat, my body's going on survival mode. And that's where sometimes we might see some different behaviors that feel unfriendly or unsafe. But as Bessel van der Kolk shares in Body Keeps the Score, I love that phrase, the problem is the solution, right? That idea that whatever we're seeing right now is literally meant to keep us alive. It's protective, okay? So what can we do with that little kiddo in that moment to restore executive functioning, the part of the brain that makes rational logical decisions and can think and realize that we are safe if the environment actually is safe, what can we do to restore that functioning in the moment that felt safety? Okay, so I went on a little tangent there, but I think this deserves that sort of explanation. But back to the 30,000-foot helicopter view, body's response to a past event, maybe a past threat that happened, that could be depression or depressive type symptoms. Body's response to a future threat, something that hasn't happened but I'm worried about it, that could be these anxiety type symptoms. So kind of thinking about all of this together, past and future can have an impact on here and now. What can we do, mind, body, and spirit, to either reframe the past and the future, and integrate that into maybe a more adaptive perspective, or not just reframe internally, but how can we set up the environment or restore or adjust the environment to actually remove or mitigate the real or perceived threats. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And like I said, I talk about this in the Campfire Workshop and in individual counseling. This is just something for you all to wrap your minds around. Okay, thank you so much again for everyone who's sponsoring these episodes. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you'd like to ask a question, you can go to the link in my bio and ask your question, and if I can, it'd be a joy for me to get to those questions in future Office Hour episodes. Okay, again, thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week for episode 6. Okay, bye-bye.